All right, welcome back to another Monday night. Let's get started, jumping right in. Storm King's Thunder 5th edition. If you missed it, check it out on YouTube. I'm ready to go. You guys ready to go?
Woo!
All right.
All sorts are ready.
So let's go back to where we were. I don't think I had a map for this. It wasn't like it was any crazy. Did I have a map? No, I didn't have a map for this. But we left off last week while approaching a broken tower on the edge of the Moonwood as our adventurers began to track westward towards Xantharal's Keep in Mirabar. Along the way, they come across a tower and began to scale it, assault it, siege it, and we pick up in the middle of the siege. So at the top of the round, so what had happened at this point, on the top of the tower, and actually maybe for our audience, I can show them the tower here real quick so they can see it. You guys just have to imagine in your minds. There you are. So on the top edge, or the roof of this broken tower, we have a dwarf who has climbed up. There were circling bloodhawks that aggressively attacked anybody that climbed the tower, and our group felled them in the first, I think, 2 turns. I think Ian got to go a second time, so I think it was 2 turns into it. The bloodhawks were shot out of the sky with resounding success with things as cool as lightning or arrows and such. And then we know that there is a giant on the inside of the tower as she has thrown a rock at our dwarf on the roof and has tried to knock him off the roof. And that's kind of where we pick up. There is a giant boulder still in front of the door. Harshnag, our friendly giant, who's a frost giant, has his hands on the boulder, and he's kind of looking behind him and is ready to roll the boulder out of the way while some of the other players get ready to enter the tower. I believe this is their plan. And that's kind of where we're at. So it's about 2 rounds of combat. If you missed that, again, you can check it out on the YouTube channel. Okay, jumping in, top of the round, Ian. You see a dwarf on the roof. All the bloodhawks have crashed to the ground, dead. The wailing, moaning sound that you heard from inside has stopped. You did see a boulder crash up through, kind of glance off of Greybeard's shoulder. Didn't knock him off, but hit him. And you hear silence inside the tower now. And it is your turn.
I can see coffee in the arrow slit, right?
Yeah, he kind of, there's, it's probably about 5'10". The bottom of the arrow slit is about 10 feet, and the top of the arrow slit is at the 5-foot mark, and you can just barely see in. It's a very small opening. It's not an opening that can be crawled through, but it is definitely an opening that he can see into the tower, and you see him kind of poking his head and looking inside.
Okay. Is there another arrow slit near him or near the tower that I can see?
There appear to be, when you were looking at the tower, you saw at least another one, and one is probably opposite side of the door, and then they almost seem to be placed at, the cardinal directions.
Okay. So I go towards towards that arrow slit. The opposite one from coffee.
Okay.
And I don't imagine I can see anything through it from my position, can I?
Not much. You can tell that the arrow slit itself is about 9 feet tall, but it's only about 5 inches wide. So it's a very narrow opening here, even though you see that it widens out as it goes into the tower, which gives, you would presume, any archer who is inside a pretty good field of fire outside of it. But like inside of it, you really only have, a 5-inch wide gap at the very outside of the wall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you would have to pretty much move. You'd have to put your face right up there like Coffee did. Really look in.
So see nothing is what you're saying. Moral of the story.
Well, are you doing that? Are you like peeking like you're peeking through a keyhole type thing?
No, I'm just trying to look in from
Next to him.
where I am.
Yeah. So all you see is the thickness of the tower. So you can see that it's a thick stone, and it's definitely darker inside, but there is some light that shines down through the broken roof, but you're not seeing anything from the vantage point that you're at.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I guess I hold my move, and if something attacks me, I attack it.
Okay. So holding, giving me a trigger, which was good. That will move us to Ardrith. All right, Ardrith. Dwarf on the roof. 2 of the elves are up near one of the arrow slits. Frost giant near the boulder. What are you up to?
I'm going to move to the opposite side of the building that the 2 elves are at. So the ones by the arrow slit. And look for any openings over there.
Yeah, so the boulder entrance faces to the west, directly west. The arrow slit that I'm assuming Coffee and Ian are at are the south-facing arrow slit. Do you want to move to the east side of the tower or the north side of the tower?
I'm going to go to the kind of the northeast tower, so we're encircling it a little bit more.
Yeah, so you see arrow slits that are spaced at exactly due north and exactly due east and due south. So there's 3 of them in total. All of them are a 9-foot slit that taper off and do 5-inch gap at the very end.
Okay. I'll head to the far side, hold my action, and look for anything in the arrow slits with my bow out, ready to shoot at it if something does. Or better yet, waiting to lightning bolt it if something does.
Yeah. Not seeing anything. It's dark in the tower. You can see rubble, the thickness of the wall, but not anything without getting much closer and kind of scaling up a little bit to see in. So we'll move to Harshnag. Unless there was anything else that you wanted to try.
I don't right now. I'm going to hold on to my spells for now.
All right, so Harshnag will heave on the boulder. The boulder is big. This is not like the throwing boulders that these giants have been throwing at you. These are significant size boulder. And you can see his arms ripple as he puts his strength to it, and he begins, and he kind of shouts out over his shoulder. I guess he would just say "go," and he starts rolling that boulder out of the way, and that'll be his turn. That would bring us to Edrum. Edrum, our druid, who had been prowling around, did like a full circle around. You would see kind of the same stuff. So dwarf is up on the roof. We've got a couple of the elves down near the southern arrow slit. The bard elf has moved around to, well, I'll just say the eastern arrow slit and kind of moving along looking. Harshnag has begun to roll a boulder out of the way of the door, and I believe Finn was pretty close to that door originally. So Edrim, our druid, is up.
Right. I am still in lion shape. I'm going to hold a position off to the side of the door, about 20 or 25 feet away, and wait to see if the hill giant comes out.
Okay. So the boulder's being rolled out of the way. Greybeard, you're up.
All right. Oh, geez. Probably ready in action. How tall is the tower? You said like 40 feet?
I don't know if it's that much. Let's see. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and you're definitely 40 feet up, yeah.
All right.
Like the stone part of the tower is probably only 30 feet, but the wooden roof that you're on is another 10 feet of wooden roof. Slanted,
right.
too. It's not like flat. It's definitely an angled, 45-degree angled, maybe not quite 45-degree, but not so severe, but an angled roof.
And can I hear Harshnag, like, moving the boulder?
Yeah, he shouted out, "Go," and you can hear the boulder makes a lot of noise as he's trying to roll it out of the way. It's definitely a significant sound.
I guess I go all Matthew McConaughey and come over the top and leap down at the giant.
Okay. So the first thing you notice as you leap is she is on a very small ledge. So how's this going to work?
Athletics check, maybe? I'm leaping. I'm basically trying to, like, hit her with both feet and bury my axe in her.
I think, yeah, so go ahead and roll an attack. You're just jumping down. I don't think you need an athletics check to do that.
All right.
So, yep, 27 would hit. 17. Okay.
Yep.
And now there is no space to land.
All right.
Because, I mean, she's on what it looks like. As you see, as you're jumping in, you see this. You see her. She's kind of crouched on a ledge that's just big enough for her to sit on. And she's now what she was sitting on. And then she's kind of in a half crouch now. And it's only like 5 feet of space. It's not like a big thing. You can see a broken stairway that spirals up, but there's a lot of breaks in the spiral.
Yeah.
And she must have pulled herself up, almost like doing a pull-up to get up there. There's no actual spiral staircase to where she's at. So it's all kind of broken on the inside of the tower, missing much of the inner whatever was in here as far as wood and such. There's just a little bit here and there, and a big pile of crap at the bottom. So you're going to fall. 5, 10,
do I get
15.
my other attack or anything before I do?
Do you think you would get a second attack in the air? Would be a great question.
Well, okay. I tried to leap on to her. So, yeah. I mean, did I just miss that? I mean, because not that I can share a space, but if I thumped into her, I might have time to wonk, take another chop, or bounce off of her and try to land on a ledge or a piece of outcropping or something, if there is anything like that. Or is it's just sheared?
It's a sheared, straight drop down to the debris below.
All right, we'll break anime game physics and just.
Well, let's try this. Let's say with your let's do an athletics check.
All right. I do have advantage.
No, I think if you would have got pretty high, like really good, I think I would have let you do kind of a John Woo maneuver.
Perfect.
But I don't think that's quite high enough for you to get your second attack. But as you bounce off her, so I'm going to say it's like when that axe hit, you dug it into her shoulder, and your feet hit her chest, right? So your feet are on the chest, but then the axe doesn't stick into her shoulder, so you feel it pull out, and then realize, wait a minute, now I'm falling backwards. And your athletics check, I'll let you count towards kind of shifting yourself bodily in the air as you drop 5, 10, 15 feet. So even though you crash into the debris in the ground area, and like all kinds of dust goes out the arrow slit holes, for all those of you that were looking in those, you're like sputtering now because of the dust that comes shooting out. And we'll say you only take, say, 4 points of bludgeoning damage. Hardly any as you drop down into the... And you can tell what you're dropping into is the wooden remains of the spiral staircase that used to lead up on the outer edge of the tower, that where the people would have sat on these platforms to shoot out these arrow slits and such.
All right.
And now you're at the bottom of the tower, and she is about, again, 15 feet above you, with a giant bleeding gash from her shoulder now.
And that is all the moves and or maneuvers I'm going to take at this time.
Okay, yeah. So you'd have bonus action or movement. Yeah, probably. I'd let you stand up again. I'd probably give you that, because all you did was drop mostly. So yeah, you can stand up. You're full of dust, full of wood shards all over yourself, in your beard. So it looks pretty good.
And I like that I blew the dust out into the faces of the elves. It makes the player laugh, and the dwarf didn't see it, of course, because he's raging inside.
Wow. Thanks, Graver.
You're welcome.
It's gonna be bad when I can't really see where I'm putting my lightning bolt.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Thanks.
All right. Now, during that, she did hold her action. So as you come barreling off the top, she does try to throw a rock at you in reaction to your attacking her. So let's get that out of the way.
Do like giants get rocks as babies or something?
It is their favorite pastime, rock throwing.
It's like marbles for them.
Yeah. And really what she's throwing at you are chunks of broken off stone from some of the stone stuff that was in here. So here we go. Now, are you raging, or you weren't doing any of that stuff, right? But not like frenzy or any of that.
No.
So she doesn't get advantage?
Nope. That's why I asked about the second attack, and then since I didn't get that, I know I don't get the third. So
yeah. Okay. Yep. So regular roll through a 22, trying to hit you in the air.
She got a 22.
Yeah, against 22 AC, so 21 bludgeoning damage. That was a pretty high damage roll.
Ouch. All right.
Oh no, I rolled a 1 in there. 7,
Yep,
1,
yep.
and an 8. All right. That was her held reaction, so she can't do anything else. Greybeard is done. So Coffee, you are now looking in, or have just stepped back slightly from this arrow slit with dust pouring out of it. You're pretty sure you saw what you thought was either a big boulder or a dwarf fall into debris into the tower. You can hear the rock being pulled away from the front that's to your left, around the left side. It's a round tower, so a circle tower, a round tower. And around to your left is where you can hear Harshnag, and probably even see him at this point, pulling the boulder away. And you know that Ardrith went to your right. Ian is standing near you. That's probably who you see at the moment. It is your turn.
And can I see the giant through the arrow slit?
Not from the vantage point you were at. No, you do not see where she is.
Do I see any structure inside that I can, that looks like stairways going up or anything?
Yeah, you see a little bit of damaged stairway near your arrow slit, and you can tell there's some damaged stairway on the opposite side, and you can tell from that it must have been some type of circle stairway that led up, but you're only seeing parts of it. You can tell that many parts of it have been damaged and knocked down.
All right, I will Misty Step to the piece that is across from me.
Okay. So yeah, you appear in this dust-filled tower. You've moved basically to the north on top of like maybe a 5-foot platform of staircase that's still there. And as you're looking, you have to turn around to your right. And as you begin to turn kind of clockwise, is how you turn back to look into the tower as you come out of your Misty Step. And you can see just above you, maybe only about probably about 8 to 9 feet above you is a crouched hill giant who's looking down, where you can see Greybeard has crashed into the remains of much of the stairs that have fallen in disrepair. This looks like an old tower to you. It is very dusty in here, very hard to see. You're having a little bit of hard time not just sneezing and coughing, but you do see the hill giant, and you do see the dwarf at the bottom of the tower now.
So there's another platform directly above me that has a hill giant on it?
Yeah. Not directly above you. It's more to your... As you make your clockwise turn, a 180-degree turn, you're now looking back into the tower. She is to your left, and then looking straight down is Greybeard on the floor.
And is she on like a little platform that I'm
Yeah,
on?
she's about 8 more feet up higher than you are. So you can tell that the staircase goes in a clockwise... Used to go in a clockwise upward angle. So it normally would have... The stairs normally would have led right up to where she is, but that part of the stairs is now missing, and she's up on the part a little higher than you are.
All right, so I'm going to lightning bolt the platform she is on.
Okay.
Now, lightning bolt says a creature in the line must take a dex saving throw. But my intent is to just fry the crap out of the wooden platform she's on.
Okay.
So that it disappears.
Yeah, let's see what happens here. So she gets a dex save. So, which she does not have a very good dex. What is your DC against this? Go ahead and put the spell in the chat so we can take a look at it.
All right.
I see Sonic's out there in chat. Glammy's out there. It's all good.
All right, I got to change it for... How do you make it so it goes to the chat instead of rolling?
I believe you uncheck the option either spell card or attack. Attack does the attack and damage. Spell card just does the... Perfect. Each creature in a line must make a dex save. So the platform's underneath her. If you want to hit the platform, are you saying you don't want to hit her?
I want to destroy that platform. If it hits her, I'm fine with that too. It's 5 feet wide, but my main target is to fry the crap out of the wood.
Yeah. So like the platform she's on is like some thick wood, but there's some wooden supports underneath. So if you're thinking like, they're kind of angled at that 45-degree angle to hold the platform up, you're thinking if you want to destroy the platform, you're going to have to aim for those supports. And
yeah,
then that
so I
would
want to
make her
destroy the
fall.
platform.
Okay. Because I don't know. I don't know if she's going to take as much damage as 8d6 lightning.
Probably not if it's not directed at her.
Yeah, it's like a 15-foot fall. It's not... She'll take some, but... Okay. Yeah, up to you. I just want to be sure you get
My intention is to get her down to where Greybeard
Okay, we'll let that happen. That smashes into the whole support structure, and you see lightning crash. There's stone, and the tower itself is stone, and it even arcs like in a almost like a Faraday cage off of the wood and the stone, and it blasts, and you hear that creak, and you see more wood and debris crash down. She crashes and falls down to the floor, and Greybeard make a dex save to dive out of the way of the crashing debris.
Whoa! By the way,
sound effects.
I do have advantage on this.
Okay.
Because of I want to remember what the ability's called. Danger Sense.
Yeah, yep. Ooh, you needed it.
You
too.
needed it.
Yeah, so you see to me, the way that reads to me is you see the stairs coming down, and you think to yourself, I'll just step back like a foot, to be super cool, and then you realize, wait, the giant's coming too, and then you dive out of the way, and then you see the wood and the giant crash to the ground, and Ian and Ardrith, even more dust and debris comes barreling out of each of the arrow slits, to the point that you can't even see inside at this point. There's so much dust going on. Everybody's coughing. You could hear coughing and hacking, crashing of debris, the sound of lightning firing off inside. You probably even see a cool strobe effect of light, brighten everything real at first, and then it goes dark again. And then... and Coffee, you have haste, so you might even be able to do other stuff at this point.
So this just
that's
further
true.
confirms my reason for not going inside.
So, yeah, that was my action.
So your Misty
One of
Step
them.
would have been bonus, right?
Right, so I still have
You cast was an action, so you probably still have
I
something.
have a move and another action. So my move will be to jump down to where the giant.
Yeah, you're in the midway. You don't even have to make a check. You're down on the floor now. Now it's debris strewn everywhere, and it is very hard to see. All you see is darkness down in here and shadows, and even like dark vision's not doing very well because there's just so much dust and smoke from the lightning bolt.
Actually, I might, if that's the case, I might stay up and just go. If I can't see her where she might be right now, I'm just going to take a dodge action and stay on that platform.
Okay, yeah, you probably see the outline of her, big bulk that has fallen to the ground. You probably see maybe just barely the outline of the dwarf who's dived out of the way, but you're definitely not like able to see their face or see their eyes or read their expression or see what they're holding in their hands. It's just like shadows in this dust cloud.
All right.
All right.
That'll be it.
Awesome. So you've got a dodge, so you'll have anybody who tries to hit you would be disadvantage. It's cool. Blade Song goes down another one. So that's haste and Blade Song. We got it. Perfect. Finn, the boulders rolled out of the way. A ton of dust and debris is shooting out the door to the point that you can't really see what's going on in there. You've heard the thunder and the lightning. It is your turn. Out on Nod, I assume. You're still mounted.
Yeah. Steel's gonna ride up to the door and shout, "Come out, foul beastie, and bring that woman you're torturing with you, and we will spare your life." In my most persuasive or intimidating tone, I don't care.
So you hear this voice say, "Woman, dwarf fall from ceiling. I not bring her in here."
Can we tell the giant is a woman? Female?
I don't know if you would tell that quite yet. I think the person who would know that would be definitely
Our
Coffee.
expert in giants.
And
Yeah.
then our expert in giants probably would be yeah, you hear the voice. Although, we can't say that anybody's voice makes you understand their gender, I would say. But I think the person who got a good look at the hill giant has been Greybeard and Coffee so far. So those two probably know for sure it's a female giant. The rest of you probably know it's a giant. And somebody yelled it, though, at some point, didn't they? Last week? Was it Greybeard?
That's not sounding familiar.
No,
He might have yelled it from...
Slit?
Somebody yelled it, I think. Somebody yelled
Yeah.
hill giant. I don't know if they yelled. I don't know if I told anybody it was a female hill giant last week. But you definitely know there's a
We did
hill
see-
giant inside.
We did see a big rock coming out of the roof, but aside from that, I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm going to say you don't know it's a female yet.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember him saying it was a giant, aside from Greybeard's perspective, which those of us on the ground wouldn't have gotten.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure somebody yelled it, one of the two. But I think they just said
When
hill
he got
giant.
to the slit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll look at Harshnag and
Yeah, he's done rolling the
Ready in
boulder,
action.
and yeah, he starts to grab his axe off his back, and he's looking at you.
yeah, I'll go in with him if he goes, but I'm gonna hold my action on the outside door.
All right, still mounted.
Yep.
Okay. Because it doesn't matter if you dismount or mount. That doesn't take your movement, does it?
Half.
Oh, it does, even though you have the... Maybe there's a feat that takes that away or something.
Yeah, I think there
All
is.
right, held action. So you're going to move in when Harshnag moves in. That'll be on his turn.
Yep.
You'll both go in. All right, Ian, you've held your action. Nobody attacked you, unfortunately. So we're back up to your round. You have seen all of the previous antics thus far.
See the giant or no?
No, you can tell that there's just so much dust in there right now that you're going to have to get pretty close to see anything inside there. In fact, trying to look in is like trying to look in a dust storm at this point.
Cool. Then I back away from the door, my full movement to the side, not directly in front of the door. And I look at the door and I aim and I hold my action.
Okay. So the door's on the west side of the tower. How far back from the door do you want to be on the west side of the tower?
My full movement,
Oh, which is, remind us,
35.
35 feet. Okay, so 35 feet out. Keeping an eye on the door, and your trigger action's going to be something comes through, or
When a baddie comes out and is aggressive towards us.
awesome, perfect. Arrow knocked. All right. Ardrith, you are up. You are on the east side of the tower. You can't see anything inside of the arrow slits.
But can I see the opening from this angle? You said the opening's on the south side?
Opening up on the wall, say 5, 10, 15, 20,
I
25
meant like where the
feet
rock
up.
came out.
Oh, that's on the opposite side you are.
Oh, on the west side.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've rolled the boulder out, and there's a
Gotcha.
doorway there.
And there's nobody to the north end of the building, correct?
No, not currently.
All right. I'll move over towards that side to where I can get a view of the opening
Okay.
where the rock was rolled out, but still staying outside of the tower.
Yeah, so you see Ian directly west of the thing, 30-ish feet, 35-ish feet. You see closer to that would be Finn on Nod and Harshnag undoing his axe, ready to move in. They're probably only 10 feet away from the opening. How far away do you want to be?
I'm going to be about 60 feet, so I'm
Oh,
going to
way
stay
out.
at a
Okay.
range where I could run, but just watching the action and keeping an eye around the tower in case anything else comes at us.
Okay. So Harshnag begins to move in. That is a... Now, he is definitely bigger than a hill giant. And he is trying to squeeze into the doorway. Finn. And then he looks back at you and shakes his head. He doesn't think he can fit through the doorway.
All right. Can I go?
Yeah,
His
you can
move,
you
then?
can go in. Yeah.
All right. He'll go in. Look around.
All right, so you enter the door, and again, a lot of dust. You see a giant shadow straight ahead of you. which is obviously a hill giant who's just getting up from being on the floor. Graybeard is a little ways to your right, and he is also standing there, axe out, ready to go, covered in dust. And you see Coffee to your left, up probably 10 feet on a platform, swords out. You are still at the doorway. You still are 15 feet away from the giant, and you don't think you're going to be able to ride Nod into the tower.
All right, he'll dismount.
Okay. So you would have 10 feet to get into melee range, or 5 feet, I guess, with your lance. Can you use your lance on foot? Probably.
He gets disadvantage on it, though.
Oh, okay. Up to you. You see the silhouette. You don't really see details at this point. Too much smoke, too much dust.
I'm going to cast Shield of Faith on myself.
Okay. Standing in the doorway?
Yep.
All right.
And I'll do it loudly, trying to get her attention.
Okay, so you cast Shield of Faith, which gives you... What's your AC up to now?
25.
25. Do you have your shield out?
Oh, yeah.
And then what, the hammer maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. All right. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, so Harshnag is next to you, and he says, "Yo, I'll pull you out." He's like kind of, he can reach into you, so he's saying if you get hit, he'll pull you. But he can't quite get in there, and he's kind of next to Nod. What is Nod gonna do?
He'll sneeze because of all the dust, and then he'll back out and wait pensively.
And smiles.
Oh, right behind Finn.
All right, so he's at the doorway.
Spear out with a shield.
Spear out, shield. Okay. This is definitely a doorway that one person can get in at a time. They built it specifically to be a choke point kind of thing. But he's right there behind you. All right. Hill Giant. So you see her pick up more rubble from the ground. Well, yeah, she's going to pick up more rubble from the ground. And she's going to say, yeah, she moves within 5 feet of both of you. So she moves forward, and to her left is Graybeard, and then straight in front of her is Finn. So Finn, you can see her. To Finn's right is Graybeard. Graybeard to your left is Finn, if that makes sense to everybody. And she holds the rock aloft, and she says to Finn, who's the one that spoke to her, she says, "Take your female dwarf and go." And she holds the rock, waiting for your response.
Where is the woman that you were torturing in this tower?
She kind of looks around, and "I'm not torturing no one. She jumped on me." And she points to the dwarf to her left.
Why does she think you're a woman? Wait, just time out. What'd you do? Did you shave your beard?
Nope. I jumped on her chest.
We heard the wailing. We have come to save her. Where is she?
And she just points to Graybeard. "She right there. Take her away."
My companion is not crying. He too is here to help save the damsel. Again, we heard her crying and wailing. Where is she?
Yeah, she's super confused. She's
I'm trying to
want
parlay.
the girl dwarf.
I'm trying to bring it all down. Take the situation.
This
in
is an
hand,
intelligence
calm her down.
5 giant, just so you know.
What do I need? Animal handling? For that?
Yeah, this is Nod level of
What are you trying
intelligence.
I think Nod's smarter, actually. I think Nod
Yeah.
has a 6.
Trying to bring it all down. Trying to
Try it-
persuade her.
Try it in a
calm her.
Russian accent.
You've confused her. I don't know what to tell you. She just take your female dwarf and go.
I'm gonna make a big show about looking around for the victim.
Yeah, go ahead and do a
I'm just
perception
trying
check because you're playing it as if you think there's actually a woman in here. Yeah, okay. So you've nailed this as far as you do not see any other shapes in here. You see the giant, you definitely see Greybeard, you definitely see Coffee, and you are positive no other person is in this tower.
All right. Can I ask her if it was her crying?
She no, you're crying, and then she kind of turns her shoulder to you.
Is she like copying you now?
No, I'm not
Quit
crying.
copying
You're
me.
crying.
You're
All right.
the puppet.
She has not attacked me.
She has not. She's holding the rock as if she's ready to fling it, but she has not. She keeps pointing to the what she calls the female dwarf and telling you to take her.
Can I motion to Greybeard to get up, dust himself off, and come over next to me towards the door?
Absolutely, you could. I don't know what Greybeard will do.
Then I do that.
I will lump over towards him.
All right, she's
With his
holding her
axe
action.
between his legs.
She's holding her action and just watching.
I can't. I don't know what she's saying. They're talking in giant, so.
Let's have. Well, I assume they were speaking in common.
No,
She was speaking in common.
Giant.
Just-
I mean, I can speak giant. So.
Oh, okay. Okay, so she answers you in that then. So while that's happening, because that's some dialogue there, and we have a 6-second round as we go here. Let's get over to Edrum. And Edrum, you can hear Finn yelling into the tower. You probably hear a muffled response. You might not pick up. Maybe do a perception check to see how much you pick up, maybe. Oh, did I miss him? Did he take off?
Nope.
Oh.
The rolls.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Oh, do you get advantage on hearing or just smelling?
I get advantage on smelling.
Okay. So we'll take the first roll. 16. That's still pretty good. So you can hear. There's definitely a conversation between Finn and somebody in the tower. You've probably heard exactly what's said with a 16. That's good enough. And you were beginning to move towards the doorway, but you have your turn now, so you can go ahead and do your action.
I'm going to hold my action until Finn gets attacked, and I have a way to enter the doorway.
Now, the problem that you're seeing definitely is Finn is in the doorway. Right behind him is Smiles the human, and then right behind them is Nod, and then right to the side of that is 15-foot frost giant. So it's definitely crowded in that doorway area.
I will get as close as I can and still remain out of view of anybody that's inside.
Okay. So Greybeard, you kind of see this stuff going on. The giant has a big giant rock in her hand. It looks like it's broken off stone from some of the stairs at the bottom that she's just picked up, but she has not thrown it yet. What does Greybeard do in this situation?
Well, I obviously all the parlay brought me out of rage, but I never went all full rage, so no exhaustion. And I'm just on guard. I'm standing there with the axe, and I'm looking back and forth between the two, trying to figure out, what the deal is. And I don't say it, but when I look at Finn, I'm like looking at him like looking for like basically kind of a kill word. If something harsh comes out of his mouth and or the rock goes flying, I'm gonna immediately rage out again and start killing. So I'm just waiting.
Okay. But you're waiting for so you're going to attack if is what is I think
Right.
more what I
Yep.
need to hear.
Yep.
So
I
what is
will-
your if she makes a move or what?
If she throws that rock.
Okay, so she starts to throw that rock, then you'll
Yep.
make an attack. Okay. Coffee, you see all this happening. You're hyped up on haste at this point. You're moving. Everybody seems to be moving slow motion for you. What are you doing?
Hearing that the parlay is going to go on, I am going to hold my action to, if she throws the rock, I will spring into action on her, but I'm staying on the ledge.
Okay. So let's pause, even though I think we're coming right back around to Finn at that point. So we're going to pause everybody's turn then. We won't go through turn order, as everybody seems to have stopped for the moment of combat. If combat happens again, maybe we'll re-roll. No, actually, we'll keep the same just because there's already a bunch of extra stuff here that I don't want to deal with. So let's just jump out of turn order and let's just go through this since nobody's in combat mode. She is kind of stepped back to the back of the tower, and she says maybe in a softer voice, "I no want dwarf. You take and leave Moog alone."
Okay.
Can this be heard outside the tower, or I'm assuming just the people in it and close to the door can?
I would assume most of you can hear it. Maybe not you that are 60 feet away, and maybe you that aren't 35 feet away, but definitely the people near the tower.
So I can definitely tell that this is a female giant.
Yeah. We'll say the dust is beginning to settle, and you can see that this is a female giant.
And she's bleeding.
Yes, from a giant axe wound in her shoulder. And the lightning didn't hit her. Was anything else hit her? I think something else hit her last time too. Somebody hit her with lightning, I thought.
Just hit the platform underneath her, right?
I
No,
hit her
like
with a
yeah, just
javelin.
Maybe it was a javelin attack last week. Maybe that's what it was.
That's all that dwarf.
Yep.
All right. Do you want to keep going, Dan, or you want to take a break?
Oh yeah, we can take a quick 5-minute break, our first break of the night, and then we can come back and we can continue parlay and see what our group is going to do with this female hill giant in the tower who's confused. She's not real smart, but that's because she's a hill giant. Not many hill giants are smart. So we'll come back and see how that all turns out. So let's go ahead and jump over to our break screen real quick, and we'll be right back.
riding a koala bear.
Here we go.
That's not a koala bear. That's a fierce lion.
Koala bear.
All right, picking back up. What is the party going to do?
Whose turn is it?
We're not in turns at this point.
I'm going to persuade her to put that rock down so we can talk.
And how are you going to do that?
Sweetly. I don't know. Giant persuasion. Tell her that we came here to rid this tower of something that was obviously terrifying a lady. And then now that we're inside the tower, we will not make judgment on the lady's size. We will offer her service what we may.
She looks at you quizzically and says, many big words. I trade. You leave tower to me and food. And she looks around and yeah, food. And I give you, and she kind of kicks this wooden chest that you see that's been at the back of the tower. But she doesn't drop the rock that's in her hand.
Is that chest the source of your sadness? Using my small words.
She says, no, I not know what in chest. Moog sad, not your concern.
About what time of day is it?
It's probably an hour before sunset.
I will try to get Ian's attention, and then try to convey that I'm going to try hunting nearby area.
Okay, how would you convey that in lion form? To Ian.
I'm going to pantomime catching a scent on the wind.
Awesome. So give me a performance check. Is that one of them?
Nod's gonna watch this intently.
I can't wait.
All right, and now Ian, give me a perception check.
I can understand animals.
Or maybe
their
insight.
basic intents.
How about insight? Yeah, but this is a druid. It'd be different.
Sure. Insight?
Insight.
Oh, that's even worse. All right.
Oh,
There we go. 19.
Yeah, you're picking up what he's putting down. You're like, got it. Gonna chase some rabbits in the woods. Yep, with you.
I look at you like just pointing at, like, with my bow still like drawn at the entrance. I'm just like, I motion towards the building like, we're in the middle of a thing here. What do you mean you're gonna go do something else?
I sneeze, and I wander off.
Awesome. So Moog says, we have deal, shiny man?
we can certainly give you some food, and I'm going to shout out to Harshnag in, I can say it in giant. It's a female hill giant in some state of distress. However, she wishes to trade with us food for a chest that's in the back of the tower. I want her to hear Harshnag outside. Another giant speaking in giant.
Okay, yeah. Think of what he would even say. Yeah, he says, I guess he would just say okay. I mean, he normally would give you a nod, but he realizes you probably won't be able to see him the way you're in that doorway and can't quite see where he's at. So, yeah, he just says okay. In Giant also.
All right, I'll tell her we'll bring you food. Does her wound need tending? If I put my hammer back in my belt, will she let me approach?
Yeah, I guess if you say that out loud. And then yeah, she would kind of she drops the stone fragment that she had picked up and says, "Just you enter, then no one else."
Okay, I'll accept that.
And she kind of gives a glaring look at the dwarf.
I was already by the door, I thought.
Yeah, you're by the door. Yep.
I'll turn around to Greybeard and say, "Can you collect us some food? Get the chest and get on out."
I just open my bag and start pulling a giant's meal worth, and yeah, I'll collect the chest and meander outside.
Okay, and coffee's in there too, I believe.
Yep. I will start coming down from my perch,
Figured
Okay.
he was up top like Batman.
brooding.
Say my name. From now on, you have to do the Batman voice change.
No, I think he should he should do Batman lines, but in Coffee's voice.
Do him like Adam West.
I'm Batman. Hey.
I'm Batman.
Yes, exactly. Tell me where. I said, tell me where.
All right, I'll hit her with that cure light wounds if she'll let me approach.
Awesome. Nine whole points. Jesus. Stingy. Yeah, so she lets you approach, and she kind of kneels down, and you're able to... the wound is still significant, but it stops bleeding, and you can see the skin begins to meld. It definitely relieves her of some of her pain.
What you hitting her for, Greybeard? Do you remember?
17.
Holy crap! All right.
I mean, she definitely is not going to, no more bleeding is happening. It's starting to heal. She definitely feels better about it. And she looks around her tower and thinks, and she just mumbles to herself, "Even more mess now. Stupid dwarf."
Is it obvious that she's been here for a while, or is it just
Yeah,
that
you
she's hiding out?
you see the leftover of stuff that she's caught and had been eating and then discarded onto the floor. This place, though, looks like it's more of a humanoid shaped tower, though. It's not like it's a giant's tower, so it's obviously something she must have stumbled into or came upon or knew about, found. It's probably used to be either a human or elven or probably some type of human tower. Probably wouldn't be elven, probably human tower, but definitely hundreds of years old, in a state of decay and decline, has not been used in a long, long time besides the trash that she has here. And most of it looked like that she was up on a perch and then she was just dropping garbage on one side of the tower.
All right, I'll try one more time. I'm going to pat my chest and say good, and then put both hands out and offer to help. As persuasively as I can.
Yeah. She's made her deal. But she doesn't seem to open up anymore to you.
Very well. I'll go grab the chest.
Yes, well, Greybeard, I think, was dragging it out, and she kind of glared at him as she did. It was almost like she didn't even notice you too much, Coffee. Like I don't even, you kind of get the impression you didn't even know. She didn't know you were the one that was throwing lightning and stuff. She definitely just glares at the dwarf, and you guys kind of go. Everybody on the outside sees Greybeard dragging the chest, and then you see Coffee exit, and then a minute or two later you see Finn coming out. The chest that you can see that's being dragged out looks super old, wooden, has some type of rusted lock on the front end of it, very rusted, like it's been there for a long time. It's not the size, it's not like a giant chest or anything, so it's like a normal chest that you would see in somebody's house or a tower, something very common.
I'll ask Harshnag to look into there and talk to her if he can. See if he can find out what's wrong, but as the little people, I'm not going to push it.
Yeah, he kind of says to you, maybe quietly, although it rumbles pretty loud, hill giants and storm giants, no love lost between the two. I might make things worse if she feels cornered and I'm out here.
Very well.
Crowbar the lock off.
Alrighty. So go ahead and wedge it. Strength check with advantage. Looks very rusted lock. Yeah, it just shatters right off. You can tell it's a very old lock. Obviously, it's been quite weathered, and it kind of just shatters off. Are you just doing this right out in front of the?
Yeah,
tower?
yeah. Yep, just out in front of everybody.
All right. Yeah, so the lock just shatters right off.
Open it up.
It appears that the hinges are also rusted. So you end up breaking the chest as you lift it, and it just kind of crumbles.
All right.
And you can see that at the bottom of it are some very dusty old, which appears to be silver piece coins. And then there appears to be something wrapped in a cloth of some sort, all dusted and dirt on it. And then, for fun, since you're the one opening it, give us a D100 roll for the second item.
Come on, canoe.
Oh, they don't have D100. What? All right, here. There it is. Boom.
Oh, very interesting. There, this is crazy. There is what appears to be wedged into this chest also a saddle of some sort.
Okay. All right. And Finn's already walked back down the hill, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, saddle. And I kind of toss it towards you. And I'm like, some silver and something in here. And it's whatever's wrapped in cloth, I hand to Coffee.
Will the saddle fit nod?
Yeah, looks like it would fit.
All right. Start working that. See if I can get to fit him correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to know what the saddle does first?
Is it special? Does it look nice? I'm assuming I'm just riding in like a blanket and a leather strap around
Yeah, it looks like a leather, some nice leather detailing on it. Saddle. It definitely has dirt and stuff on it from being inside the chest.
I guess we should detect magic on it before we just toss it on.
I can do that.
And GB's counting silver coins.
I'll do a
All
10-minute ritual on it.
GB, roll an intelligence check. Are you using both feet and both hands?
Mm-hmm.
You count. Oh boy, it's pretty low. Your count comes up with 300 silver.
All right.
And it's all strewn along the bottom of it, so you're like scooping them up and putting them in your bag or whatever and scraping them up.
Shaking them to one corner. And...
Yeah. Well, yeah, but there's a lot of dust and crap in it too, and plus the broken hinges and the broken top.
I'll sift it.
All right, so before you, Coffee lays a saddle that appears to have dirt and dust on it, and then a cloth bundle that appears to be dirty cloth, something wrapped in it.
Lucian, have I had any luck picking up a scent?
Nope, not yet. Nothing quite yet.
Okay.
I will do a ritual detect magic on the stuff we got out of the chest.
Okay, so about 10 minutes will go by.
Yeah.
So yeah, the saddle gives off. It is obviously magical of some sort, and the bundle itself. As you unwrap the bundle, there is a short sword in the bundle, and it also glows as if magical.
I will then go into a 10-minute identify.
All right, so now 20 minutes later, let's do a survival check with. Let's stop there for a second too. So for 10 minutes, you're doing that. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to do during the first 10 minutes of the identify ritual, besides Edram? I'll come to Edram here in a second.
I'm still just keeping an eye on the area around this castle. So not too actively participating in it, but keeping an eye around just to make sure nothing's going to approach us as we're doing this.
Okay. Anybody else? Or I'll just...
GB's having a sandwich.
Okay.
You took damage after that fall, so Finn can heal you too.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I can heal him up too.
Yeah, and I would say in that 10 minutes, haste wears off of Coffee, and there's something happens to you when that happens, right, Coffee?
I believe the next round I am, let's see, disadvantaged or something? Let me see.
Did we have haste in the
I
script?
believe it's you can't take a turn or something like that. Or you can't move.
Let's see. Spell ends, you cannot move or take actions until after the next turn. So I have a turn of lethargy with no actions or movement.
All right, so that'll happen. Also, your blade song would go down.
Yep.
Haste, blade song, and those are the only things I think that were up. Oh, Shield of Faith. How long does that go?
$10 minutes.
Okay, so at the end of the ritual, your Shield of Faith would dissipate. Okay. Out in the woods, Edram, you are stalking around. You are definitely in what you know as to be the Moonwood. This is like a pine tree forest. So not a lot of undergrowth, but more a lot of tall, straight trees, pine trees.
Yep.
And for the first 10 minutes, you don't really pick anything up. You don't pick any trails up in the Moonwood area. So then we'll get to the Identify ritual. So during the 10 minutes of the second ritual, I'll come back to Edram again in just a second. Is there anybody who wants to do anything in the second 10 minutes? Okay. Edrum, now give me a survival check, and we'll see if you pick up on anything out in the Moonwood.
Do you want me to go with survival or with perception, which I have advantage on?
This would be a survival. You're hunting, stalking, that kind of thing. So you've scoured the area pretty good, and you're pretty sure that there hasn't been too many animals anywhere near this edge of the woods, probably in the last day or two. You get the feeling that you'd have to go much deeper in to pick up like on deer or any of the other type of animals that you might see in here. I mean, you see there's birds flying around in the trees here and there. It is fairly quiet, but that's about all you pick up on.
Okay. I return to the tower, or where everybody else is regrouped.
Okay. All right. So, Coffee, your ritual completes, and before you is what is called, although they never really tell you if you know the exact name of a magic item or what you would know about it, but just so that we all know what you picked up, it is the Saddle of the Cavalier. And what this saddle will do is, while in the saddle on a mount, it can be on any mount, you cannot be dismounted against your will if you are conscious, and attack rolls against the mount have disadvantage.
Ooh, that's sweet.
So I'm sure the dwarf will want that. I'm just joking. The short sword basically comes back as what you're picking up is a +1 short sword.
All right, I will inform the party of the items and their powers.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the identify exactly would work in that way. I should research how that truly would work. But out of game, those are the things that they come up with. +1 sword. Woohoo! And the other thing you notice about the sword, as you're looking at it, Coffee, it appears to be of Elven workmanship. And when it comes out of the bundle, it is looks brand new, fine workmanship, exquisite workmanship, definitely of Elven origin as far as you can tell.
Nice. Well, surely I should be the one to wield this blade in battle.
And surely I should be the one who wears that saddle in battle.
Any objections?
Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do with that shiny toothpick you're shaking there.
Just means I get to hold my magic pick for later, so I'm good with it.
The saddle just works, but the sword will need to be attuned.
I will start that process right now.
All right, and are you guys just hang out in front of this tower then? What's happening with the rest of the group?
Are we staying here for the night, or are we going to move on? I'll ask the rest of the party.
Move on.
Well, the giant's not attacking us, and it's clear this whole zone is probably safe if she's here, right?
Sounds about right.
How late in the day is it?
Sun is setting.
We might as well stay the night here, then.
And you are right on the edge of the Moonwood. You were just about to enter it when you found this tower.
I figure it's better to stay the night here and enter the Moonwood during the day.
I concur.
Right then. And I'll start trying to gather up some wood, build a fire.
I'll work on getting that saddle on Nod.
I'll set out my saddle blanket and go about getting the horse tied up and an area to sleep set up. And then I'll go help Greybeard with food.
All right. other characters as camp is being set up?
Whenever I return, I'll revert to my human form and find some way to make myself useful.
And anybody else? Ian or Coffee after that?
So while we're making ourselves useful, I'm going to start up a conversation with Edrum. And Edrum, how is it you shift back and forth from human to animal form?
He doesn't reply right away. He seems to think about how to convey it. I kind of just feel the spirit of the animal, and I've worked closely enough with them that I kind of have affinity for them.
And can you make it stop when you want to?
Yes.
Interesting. Well, along our journeys, talk to me more of this. I'm interested in how it works and what happens.
Certainly. I would be happy to give you any education that I could.
And so what's your favorite beast form?
I like them all.
And I'll thank him and just go about general conversation at that point as we get dinner together.
Okay.
I'm going to suggest to Ardrith that during the evening around the fire that we bust out the musical instruments and play loudly to try to mollify or help the hill giant.
Okay. And while we do that, I can do part of it as Song of Rest, which would give any wound who's injured 3 hit points back.
I will attempt to join in on my flute also.
The moment they do that, I go as far as I feel comfortable to take watch to make sure that nothing starts approaching us, or at least that I'll be able to give warning.
Okay. Any specific direction, or you're just trying to 360 it?
360 it, but I feel like I would probably pay more attention to if someone's mowing their lawn outside. More towards the woods.
Okay. So yeah, the night goes on. You start to see and hear a little bit of thunder off in the distance. It's probably as each of you are looking, it's a storm that's out on the horizon, probably still a day away from you guys. And you just see little flashes off in the distance to the northeast, but quite a ways away. The temperature definitely drops. It's definitely getting a lot colder these days as we're into the fall at this point. We're getting close to probably when first snow will happen. And you definitely notice that Moog, the hill giant, you see her shadow kind of move in the doorway of the tower as the music is playing, and you guys have created camp near this tower. But she doesn't really kind of come out of the tower. She just sits in the doorway, and you can tell she's kind of bobbing her head a little bit to the music that's played, but she stays at the tower. Harshnag also moves off kind of towards the Moonwood and seems to be keeping an eye on the Moonwood. And the night will go along as normal. Is everybody doing their normal watches? Let me go back to where's our watch order here?
Yep.
No, I stay up the whole night.
Okay, so you're just going to stay up?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Ian stays up. Greybeard, do you actually try to do a watch, or do you try to sleep again?
Do I have any inkling that Ian's not sleeping?
Well, normally Finn would wake you up to take, because he has first watch, and then he would wake you to take second watch. But you definitely see Ian was awake while Finn is on watch when you try to go to sleep, and then he wakes you up, and you see Ian still up.
All right. Instinct kicks in, and I get that grumpy squint dwarf eyes, and I lump out into the darkness to see what's up with Ian. And when I walk up to her, if she's like crouched down or whatever, I kind of like bump her like in a way to like knock her off balance, and then be like, "What's up?"
It's just we live in dangerous times, close to enemies. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe staying here. I'd rather stay awake and make sure we don't get attacked, rather than be caught with our metaphoric pants down.
We could set a trip line in front of Moog's place. Besides, if she tries to move that boulder, we'll hear her.
But giants are not the only enemies here.
Oh yeah, and the boulder at this point has not been moved back. Just so everybody knows that.
All right. We'll sit up with you for a while. And at that point, I pull out a pipe, and I get a little ember from the fire, and I smoke a pipe, and I'll even offer some to Ian.
I'll accept.
And then I guess I'll do my watch, hanging out with her.
Okay. It's probably during that watch, and then normally Ian's watch would be next, which would be towards the middle of the night, is when you would notice that Harshnag lays down near the Moonwood, just outside of your guys' camp. It's not like he's camping right with you, but he's not more than maybe 40 or 50 feet away. And he then, by about midnight, begins to slumber also. Ian, you typically would go through your normal watch. Greybeard would wander back off to bed at that point. Then it would be Edrim if he took Jarl's place, which I just assume would just slot in. So you would be waking Edrim up to take watch, or do you just let him sleep?
I'll tell Greybeard to go wake Edrim.
Okay.
All right.
And I say thank you. Or I don't say thank you. I say it like very begrudging, like, thing for the pipe.
Oh, good. And the whole time we sat there, Greybeard didn't try to be like cool and not talk, which is like killer hard for him. But he was, trying to show some respect. So
Ian appreciates it, even though I'm sure it doesn't show.
Perfect. All right. Hey, Edrim. Hey. Wakey. You're up.
Already?
Yeah. Keep an eye on Ian. Ian. She hasn't slept yet, or even did that trancy weirdness.
I just kind of nod, and I look for where Ian is. Did you point her out?
Kind of a shrug, thumb gesture.
Okay.
And GB's like almost snoring before he's really laying down.
I transform back into lion shape, and I head by Ian as I start circling the camp a little bit.
Okay.
I give him a glance, and then I turn back, looking towards the woods.
All right. So typically, Edrim, you would do your watch, and you're in your lion form, and then several hours would go by, and then it would be time for you to wake Coffee for his turn.
Yeah, probably somewhere between 2 and 2.5 hours.
Yeah. And so you go over and nudge him awake.
Yep. Put a paw on his chest.
All right, Coffee. You're nudged awake by Edrim, and you also see that Ian is up. Everybody else seems to be slumbering or resting.
All right, I will get up and start my watch.
All right. So while you're on your watch, you hear a whisper, and it's very faint. It's in Elven, and it comes from behind you, and you think that, that's kind of where Ian's sitting, and you just hear very faint, almost at the very edge of your perception of hearing, you hear in Elven, "Thank you," from a female voice.
I'm going to turn around and look in the direction that it came from. Do I see anything?
You see Ian's back, who's looking at the woods, and then maybe every now and then occasionally glances in the other directions, but definitely keeping her eye on the woods. And she probably looks to the tower every now and then, although she's, to me, she's been up most of the night and nothing's come out of the tower, so I don't know how often she would look at that. I'll let Ian say how she's doing that.
Yeah, I've basically not moved my position since I went off during the festivities to go on watch. I've just sat there.
I will use message to her and say, "For what, my dear?"
Yes, so you'll hear that in your head, Ian.
And I'll look around and I'll look over at Coffee and say, for what? What are you talking about?
And I will say, "Did you not just thank me?"
No, I haven't spoken a word.
I should have figured. I will get up and ignore and walk past Ian towards
Actually,
the direction.
do this, Coffee. Do an insight check.
Okay.
Let's see if you get this. Oh, it's low. That's exactly what I wanted. You're not sure if she's telling you the truth or not. Like the way she says it, you might get the impression the way she said it is like maybe it's one of those people who say something, but then if you point it out, they'll just deny it. Like,
But you also know I'm a shitty liar.
I'm going to get up and walk past her
okay, into the woods, towards the woods.
and whisper back to her, "Are you sure there's nothing you should thank me for?"
My mere presence should be thanked for. I'm sorry.
Nothing in the past few days that I can recall.
Yeah, and I would think Ian
generally
insight.
confused to me?
Yeah, Ian, do an insight check.
Inside check.
Oh, even
Oh,
better.
yeah.
This is so perfect. Yeah, you are definitely very confused what he's hinting at. You're almost maybe irritated, like he's hinting at something that like you should be thanking him for something he did, but you can't think of anything that it should be, and so it's almost annoying to you that he's like, "Come on, why aren't you thanking me? Why aren't I giving you all these chances to thank me? Why aren't you?"
Life imitates art, because that's exactly what my reaction is. It's just like I don't recall. I mean, we've basically walked for the past 3 days, right? Something like that since Citadel.
Yeah, it's been 3 days. Yep, this would be the fourth day once morning hits.
When she says that, I'm going to turn around and look at her and message her, "Are you having a go at me?"
Is this a high elf thing? Or I don't know what you are talking about.
Is this a wood elf game you play?
Co- Are are you okay, Coffee? I can take your watch if you need more sleep.
Now he's gonna wonder.
Yeah, I would say you're both kind of just not sure of each other at this point. You're just like, you can't tell, are they escalating it? Are they being serious? Are they joking? Does somebody just have dry humor? It's just like you're just not getting it. Each other are just not communicating.
Truthfully, Forest One, did you not thank me a few moments ago in word?
No, I have not spoken since Greybeard's watch.
All right, yeah, go with another insight now, Coffee. Now that you're very direct.
God damn it, Coffee. These aren't death saves, Coffee.
I mean, she's telling you what she's saying. You're just not sure. It's not that you don't believe her either. It's just like you can't tell. You can't read what's going on.
Hey, it's hard to read a stone that's always a stone.
That's true. You're worrying me, Coffee. Did you hear a voice? A female voice? During
Yes.
our watch?
It was oddly polite, so I'm assuming it wasn't your.
What did it say?
It said thank you.
It said thank you?
Precisely.
Hold on. I need to do a roll. Oh, that's actually good.
You
I
believe
say-
him. You believe at this point you think he heard somebody say thank you and he thought it was you.
I say, Coffee. What does your spell tell you about your items? About magical items?
It tells me the general school, the general power. I think I see where you're going with this, though. I will pull the magical short sword out.
Yeah, it still appears the way it looked before. And very clean, almost brand new, intricately made. Very light in your hands. You can tell the balance in this is perfect, like better than any of the swords you've ever held.
I believe you may be asking the wrong person why you were banked.
It was in our tongue, and I will address the sword. You're welcome. In
And that
Elvish.
definitely looks as awkward as it just sounded, which is just funny. But you get no response.
I would be careful, Coffee. Keep an eye out in our next battle when you use it.
Our people made it. What could go wrong?
I take out I always have them stuffed inside my shirt, or I guess my armor, but I take out my my neck, mummified elf fingers on it, and I say, not everyone was good of our people, Coffee. And I stuff them back into under my armor.
Coffee looks a little shocked and shaken.
Yeah, she's carrying around elf fingers.
It's true. Only one person knows that story in this group.
All right. And yeah, so the rest of the evening would go uneventful. Nothing else would happen. You would wake up Ardrith the Bard. If you end up going back to sleep, or do you stay awake the rest of the morning, Coffee?
Yeah, I'll do my watch.
Yeah, and just it's nobody sees anything. It's pretty quiet. The storm seems to be coming closer, but it's probably going to hit you guys midday, if sometime in the next day or so. So it's not quite there yet. It's still colder. The wind is picked up, but not rained or anything quite yet. And
From
then,
the north, you said?
It's moving. It's to the north of you, to the northeast of you now, but you can tell it's moving from the northeast, moving to the west. And you some of it may hit you, or it may stay to the north of you. You're not sure yet.
Okay.
And then, the rest of the watches will go, and then Ardrith would be waking everybody up in the morning to break camp. And we're on the next day, and the group can tell me what they're doing.
Well, I guess we're heading into the forest, right?
Mm-hmm. I suggest we go a little bit south along the edge before we go into the forest. With the storm coming by, maybe it'll hit us a little less.
And we're doing this because you can pull us through the forest just as fast as it would if we were on a road?
Yep, grasslands and forests.
All right.
This isn't one of those crazy forests where you can't burn anything, right? It's not like weird like that.
No, though I wouldn't suggest you burn things.
So, Ian, using the draw shape tool, maybe give me a freehand line that shows me the general route you're talking about, just so I can see it.
So, like that, like go more south and then start heading east.
Okay.
Not east, west. Never east or west. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you guys would get to that point during the day. Okay. So we travel on. You guys have entered the Moonwood. This is kind of even though it's light out and the sun has risen, it's still a pretty dense wood. It's still a pretty old growth wood. It's all pine and I think what they call shadow top trees, which are, just very typical Faerun type trees. And you go full day. It's pretty quiet on the edges. You're not picking up any too much. The animals of the wood are staying well out of earshot. Maybe Ian might pick out game here or there. Anybody that's maybe staying a little bit ahead of the group might be able to catch sight of rabbit or deer or stuff like that. But if you're staying anywhere near the group, then the group makes too much noise for the animals to stay in the vicinity. And you guys all... go ahead.
If I get an opportunity, I will try to chase one of the rabbits down, or a deer or something, if I can find it.
Yeah, you would probably have to travel pretty far. You would have to be... I'm going to say at least 1,000 yards, say, from the group. You'd have to, because there's just so much noise that they're making. So you'd have to kind of head out from the group, which you can do if you want.
Yep, I will do so.
Okay. So throughout the day, go ahead and make a survival roll. You're able to chase down small game in the woods and bring it back.
Okay.
And you guys make camp the next day. Probably just about as you're making camp, the rainstorm hits, and it's a storm. It's rain, but you're in the woods, so it's probably not as bad as if you were out on the plains. You were thinking that it'd probably be a much more miserable journey if you're on the plains, even though each of you are probably going to get wet. But then you guys make camp in the Moonwood, And during Finn's watch, Smiles kind of comes up and he's like, why didn't you just kill the giant?
Well, I guess a bit of a softie at heart when it comes to the fairer gender.
It's like, but the hill giants raid the towns and the farms, and they're notorious for stealing the livestock and anything they can get their hands on. I've never come across a good hill giant. And actually, from the edge of camp, Harshnag kind of gives a nod as he's listening, maybe to the conversation, but not really engaging in it.
Would you like to talk to Ian about whether or not she's ever met a good savage human?
And he looks over to, is Ian, you doing staying up again, or are you actually sleeping this time?
Well, I'm trancing.
Trancing. Yeah, he kind of gives her a look and gives you a wary look and says, no, I don't think she wants to speak with me.
So our actions define us, and we kicked the door down and essentially dove into her house with an intent to kill. Or what we thought was to hopefully save somebody who was obviously in distress, but that was not the case.
But she attacked your friend Greybeard. I mean, the mighty warrior, and she threw rocks at him.
Did she attack him, or did she defend herself?
He kind of furrows his brow and he thinks on it, and he doesn't answer. He just kind of you can see the wheels turning as he's thinking about that, and then just kind of lets the conversation sit at that. So the rest of the watches go as normal, as each person is taking their watch, is being woke up by the next person. Let's move our little token where we're at here. And you guys pick back up, and you begin to continue to travel. Ian, just straight across at this point. You're making your way for... Yeah, okay. So let's get a little ways further, and let's say probably right about there. And then Ian out front, go ahead and give me a perception check. Yeah, and do you get advantage, or do you just get regular?
Oh, that's a very good question. Do I get on perception checks?
I can't remember what feat you had.
Let's see. Well, on observant, I get better passive perception. So that's like 20. Let's see. But with natural explorer, the thing that lets me have all the nice things. What is that? Advantage on that. And I have one more to check. For groups. Traveling alone, normal pace. No, it doesn't say anything about that. No.
All right. Well, you still have a good roll there. You realize your party is being shadowed on each side. You're catching glimpses of Elven scouts.
Elven scouts?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't see this yet.
Nope.
I hold my hand out in the classic stop moving group behind me. I just put it out.
Yeah, and when I say they're shadowing you, they're kind of going parallel with you on either side. You have no idea the numbers. You just barely have caught the movement that you know there are, rangers or scouts. And they're probably from where your group is 50 yards distance either side of you. And you've caught a little bit of movement to your right, a little bit of movement to your left, so you know they're on either side. But when you stop the group, I mean they're hidden. You don't see them.
No, but I know.
You know the group was being shadowed, and you kind of even with you're thinking that maybe actually now that you think about it, you may have been being shadowed for a bit.
It's classic.
Classic, yes.
Classic, because this is what I used to do.
This is exactly how you would have done it.
So I hold up my hand, and I wait for a second, and if nothing happened, like a few seconds, and wait for my group to stop. And if no one approaches, I say aloud.
Actually, before you kind of
ahead.
stop, you let your group stop, and then 50 feet-ish away, at the something moves kind of in just your vision, but you can tell has deliberately is still hidden to your group. She has stepped in a way that she knows you will see her, but she's also stepped in a way that she knows your group will not see her. The way she's using the bushes and the trees and the cover that's available, and she gives you kind of a motion to come closer, and then she hides again.
I look back to my group and I say, "Stay here. Do not approach me. You'll know if you need to approach." And I look at each of them in the eye, and I approach. I approach slowly, making sure I have my hands are not near any of my weapons, and I approach slowly towards the person.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
so yeah, it's only about
oh.
50 feet away, and you can tell that she's chosen this tree that she's kind of standing behind, and you can see her as you approach. That from the angle that you're coming at, you can kind of see her, and she has her bow, but the arrow is not knocked and it's being held down, and she's standing in such a way that the group would not be able to see her because the tree would be in the way. And then she allows you to get really close. I mean, she's whispering to you as you come up, and she says in Elven to you, welcome, and says, "You travel with strange companions. Should we be concerned?" And she whispers it so quietly that nobody that's not even within 3 or 4 or 5 feet of her would be able to hear her.
Mm-hmm. And I, in the same exact intonality, I say, "They are strange, but they are honest, and no, you should not be worried. We are on a mission that requires odd alliances. I'm sure you have felt the unrest in your forces. I have in mine."
She gives you a nod, and she introduces herself as El Anil. And she points, and you can kind of see behind you, which is another female elf that seems to be wearing a robe, but was on the other side of, like a part of the other shadowing group. And she points and says, and this is my second Ziliana, and I'll type them in so you have them. And she's whispering all this and says, "You are close to one of our settlements. We would wish to escort you around and past through the rest of the Moonwood if you would allow us."
Of course. I do have a few questions about the state of the Moonwood. I introduce myself. I say, "I'm Ianagris Miliamne of the High Forest, captain of the guard. And I do have some questions about what has been occurring." Oh my gosh, I was about to make a pun. It was so awful. I'm glad I caught myself. In your woods. Not your neck of the woods. In your woods.
Okay. And she mentions to you, well, let us bring you to the campsite, and then we shall talk.
All right. And I nod, and I go back to my group, and I say, "These are the scouts of the Moonwood Elves, I presume. They would just like to escort us around one of their settlements. It's if you have never been in an elven forest, it is normal procedure. They would like us to escort us around the Moonwood, and would like us to meet them at their campsite."
If you trust him, I trust him.
Cool. And I nod and I say I do. Or I look around, making sure everybody is okay with this.
Sounds good to me.
And I look up high at our giant friend.
Yeah, you get the nod from Harshnag.
All right. And I start walking.
Yeah, and basically it's like you're leading the group still, and again, you can see every couple of minutes, you can tell one of the scouts purposely shows themselves in your line of sight and your line of sight only, but then fades again, and you can tell you're still kind of going the same way, but they divert you a little bit south, you know, and most everybody else probably would have a hard time even knowing that you're moving in the woods. It all seems like woods when you're walking through it, but Ian would definitely pick up the subtle changes in kind of rounding around the southern end of something for sure. And then when you get up to a spot, you can kind of even tell, like it's a spot you would pick for camp. You guys go for another whole half a day. This happened right about noonish when this happened. So you guys travel more half of the day. Let's go another 10 miles or so. They bring you south, so right about there. You see what you know would exactly be a campsite that you would pick, even if they weren't there, and you can tell that's what they've kind of led you to. Although they're not in it or hanging out there, you realize right away that this is where they were bringing you. And then it's the sun's about to set, and this is about the normal time you guys would make camp.
Cool. And I motion them towards the camp.
Did I happen to pick up any wildlife or game today?
Nope. Nothing around. There's so many. I mean, you've got a giant walking through the woods. You've got a dwarf. You've got plate mail dude. Ghost lion. I mean, horses. There's just a lot of stuff here. So the game is definitely taken off and is miles away from where you guys are.
Okay.
So you guys make camp. And let's go ahead and take our second 5-minute break for now, and then when we come back, we will continue on and see where we're at. So stay tuned. We got a little bit more going. Been a good session so far. Don't go anywhere. All right, here we go. Let's jump back to our crew. Camp is being set.
Have they approached?
No, they have still stayed away. You can tell. Each of you probably feel like you're being watched, although you can't quite tell from where. But they do not enter your camp.
Okay. I wait until camp is done before I try to approach one of them. Ideally, the person I saw before. Or Ziliana.
Yeah, you are getting the impression that they are willing to talk to probably you, but they're not really engaging your party.
I can appreciate that. I'm also wary of our party. All right. So after I make sure everybody's set up and stuff, I let them know that I'm gonna go speak to our escorts. And if no one has a problem, I'm just gonna mosey me on my way over there.
Yeah, so you just kind of, you can just basically pick a direction, and then after you've walked maybe 50 yards, just maybe, you could still see maybe the glow of the fire. Definitely out of earshot, mostly out of visual sight. You see Ella Neal step out from a tree that's kind of up in the path of the way you're walking, and she bows her head to you respectfully.
I do the same. And I say, Ella Neal, you are welcome in our camp if you so wish to sit near a fire.
And she kind of gives you a look past over your shoulder, kind of a little wistfully. Maybe has kind of a half smile, and says, "Thank you, Ian." And she uses your full name the way you had introduced yourself originally in Elven. And she still speaks super quiet. She's still speaking in whispers, nearly whispers, but definitely subvocally, kind of to keep the quiet down. Mm-hmm. She says, but alas, our people are one who are very wary of strangers, and I must keep to those ways.
Well, I can respect that. That was my path also before the unrest in the world began. What has been the state of the Moonwood? We have encountered a few scenes on our way here.
And she says, "Yes. Let us trade information, as we do not get as much from the outside of the wood as we may like." So she says, and you kind of get the feeling it's I tell you something, you tell me something, I tell you something, you tell me something kind of thing.
Sure.
Very similar to interacting with other tribes of elves that live near each other possibly, but they aren't of the same group or tribe, or, they don't necessarily call themselves a tribe, but a lot of times there's groupings of elves that live apart from each other for whatever reason. And so she kind of says first to you, the Uthgard have grown, and she uses the Elven word for the barbarian humans, have grown bold in the Moonwood. It feels as if they were coming down from the Druirwood, and you know that that's the wood that's to the north of the Moonwood. And then she kind of looks to you.
Yes. On our way here from Citadel Felbar, we encountered near the river, the Red Run River. We encountered a scene between frost giants, storm giants, frost giants,
Frost.
frost. we encountered a couple of dead frost giants and what looked like a party of Uthgardt barbarians of the Bear clan, I think is what you said they were. Polar bears.
Polar
Yeah.
bears. Is that what your notes say?
Let's see, I think I have Ursula clan. No, that's the giant. The hell giant.
Yeah, that's the name of the hill giant. It's the blue bear tribe.
See, giving you shit. I was close.
The polar bears. Got it. Okay. And she mentions, she says, on the plains to the west of here. And then with a question mark at the end.
East? Never eat?
Oh,
east?
yep, I'm sorry, east. Yep, she says east.
Yes, on the plains east of here. About 4 days? 5 days, I guess, at this point.
She says, we have had some sightings from those that live in the north of many giant sightings pushing others south, coming through our woods.
Any particular kind of giants or just a variety?
She's been hearing a lot of, she says, most accounts have been frost or hill giants in the area. And then she offers, to the west of here you will pick up the Subrun River. Be wary there. Many orc tribes have been coming down from the mountains to the west.
From the mountains or the west? West.
And you know that the Frost Hills and the Subrun River is to the west of you.
North of the Evermoors?
Yes. Yep. It'd be almost directly straight west. There's a mountain range straight west of you.
South of here, in the Silver Woods next to the Evermoors, we encountered not only fire giants, but also a band of what seemed to be orcs that may have been associated with them.
Yeah, and she mentions we have stayed further north as the Evermore has been more dangerous. So most of our settlements are much further north, and we have not had much contact with those along the roads, the human roads, or that which lives in the Evermores.
It's a smart decision. Very good. What else have we seen? A bunch of frost giants. We have that one hill giant, but I probably won't say anything about her. There was an attack on 2 human cities. One named Nightstone, which is fairly south of here, next to the Ard Deep Forest, was attacked by cloud giants. They seem to be intent on picking some artifact from the ground. And then in Tribor, which is well west of here, also attacked by fire giants, also in search for an artifact.
And she nods and says, so the giants are then looking for things in the human settlements.
It seems that the giants are preparing, organizing. It sounds like maybe they're going to attempt to take back the Sword Coast from what they call the Little People.
And she nods gravely, and then you kind of see her look behind, and you can see over her shoulder, you see a jet black, and since the sun has gone down, it's gotten quite dark in the Moonwood. But you see a jet black panther who comes up absolutely silent behind El Anil, and then shape changes and then it's the Ziliana that that got pointed out to you earlier in the day. And she whispers into El Anil's ear and
Can I
then
see
heads
her-
back. Oh, go
Can I
ahead.
see her lips?
I'm going to say no. You don't.
Oh, nice
the
use
way-
of a feat.
Yeah, I'm going to say you don't hear what she says.
See what she says.
Or see it. Yeah. And then she gives you a courteous nod, Ziliana, and then moves back towards the north. And El Anil turns and says to you, our camp has been made. We're just north of you, but then in the morning, we would ask that we escort you through the Moonwood until the edge. You will be safe from anything while we are here, and we will help you avoid any of the settlements that we do not wish you to stumble upon.
That sounds like a fair. That sounds fair. Is there a signal that I should keep an ear out for?
Yeah, maybe she makes a really cool night bird whistle that's very soft and very common that you're hearing throughout the woods, but you can tell she does it just slightly different enough that you would know it was her versus the ones that you hear every now and then calling out in the woods in the dark.
And in response, I'll make a sound of one of the birds that's common in the high forest, one that we use as a signal.
Okay.
And I'll say that will be my response.
Yeah, she bows and then unslings her bow once again, and then she moves off to the north.
All right, and I make my way back.
All right. All right, camp followers, you're able to do anything if you wish, or we can go through our watches real quick. Or if there's anybody that wants to do something during that time.
I spend the evening schooling Smiles on the word of Corellin.
Okay. Okay, so let's bring up one other thing here real quick. Let me look at the watch order again. So Ardrith ends up being last watch. Coffee's just before him. Okay. So coffee before probably, you don't really know what time it is, but you're doing your trance for the evening. Talk to me a little bit about like what your trance, what you do during your trance. Obviously, there's 4 hours of your trance, and then there's probably just several hours of you studying your books and whatnot. Give us a little description of that.
My trance usually consists of graybeard-like dwarves jumping over a fence with numbers on them, going from 1 to 99.
Nice. Little fat sheep.
And then I'll just, mostly be just studying my spell book once I'm up.
All right. Well, in your trance, even while trancing, it is possible for elves to dream. And you have a dream, and it feels very emotional. You feel several different emotions. You feel fear, you feel anger, and sadness. And then you kind of awake from your trance, but you don't have memory of the specific, like you didn't get images, or you knew there was something, but it's like your mind has already forgotten what those images were. But the only feelings you still have are of the strong emotion tied to each one. And then it's you. And as you are waking, Ian would be tapping you on the shoulder, or I'm sorry, Edrim would be waking you up for your turn at the watch, and it seems to coincide with as Edrim is walking up to you to wake you up for your watch.
Okay, and that's not a very normal occurrence for me, right? Dreaming wise.
No, yeah, I mean, it's not uncommon. You don't probably have them often, but the strength of the emotions is definitely something that sits with you, and it's not. You probably can't remember a time when you didn't remember what you dreamed about. Normally, you remember what you dreamed about, but this time it just seems like you have that. You wake up and you know there was something, but you just can't recall it.
Okay.
And then you would go on with your normal watch as you were watching over camp, and I would assume studying your books and stuff at the same time-ish.
Yeah.
Also, the storm is much more to the north of you at this point. Only a small part of it has hit. It is no longer raining on your group during this evening, but the storm is flashing and crashing to the north of you. And during that time also, Ardrith, while you were asleep, you also have dreams of chasing, of running, being out of breath. You get this impression of hunting. You get this impression of a yearning to hunt, to feed, to eat, hunger, all those things. As then you're kind of shooken awake by coffee to take your watch. You guys might be muted.
I shake him awake.
Wait.
Wake up.
Who?
Ardra.
Ardrith.
Oh, that's what I thought. Second, I thought, was it me? No, not me.
Sorry, I changed my push to talk key, so no matter how much I put alt, it won't work. All right, so I jump up and then calm myself down rather quickly. Like I'm startled from being awoken at that point.
Yeah, he kind of gives you that typical, it's your turn, your type of thing, and you realize it's your turn for the watch.
Okay. I'll get up and start my watch and move to the corner edge of the fire so that I can see more clearly around.
Yeah. While standing out there, you feel an urge. Everybody is either sleeping or in their trance or at least resting. And you begin to feel a change. And then it continues, and you don't have any control of it. You don't make any noise. But you're afraid that you know what's about to happen, and you're right at the edge of camp.
So at that point, I'll move deeper in the woods to get away from the rest of the party.
Okay. Yeah, you get, and it's like as you get 20 feet, you can really feel it, and then it's like a blackout. You wake up and you feel like it's a couple hours later, and you are awake in the woods, and you know you're probably still close to camp. You can hear the fire probably crackle. You still know the direction of it, but you're definitely still outside of camp, and you are once again naked.
So at that point, judging by where the camp is around me, can I figure out roughly where I was before I blacked out?
Yep.
Okay. I'll make my way back to that point and gather together my clothes and hope that no one's woken while I was on watch.
Yeah. Yeah, you make it back in. It seems like it didn't last for long. You don't have a memory of the moment it happened or what happened while it had happened. It started a blank space and then you woke up. And then you're able to get your stuff back on, and then as the sun is starting to rise. In fact, it's almost, you probably woke up at the moment the sun began to rise, and that there was the sky began to light it up in the pre-dawn.
Okay. I will head back into the camp then and start to wake people up
Okay.
as nonchalantly as I can.
Sure. All right. So you guys break camp, and then pack everything up, saddle your horses and lion, and begin to travel again. You are being led again, Ian. This time it just feels like it's straight west,
Mm-hmm.
and you're making good time. And they bring you, we'll say you made even better time. You get right up to the edge of the woods. So let me reveal some of that. We'll move you guys. So you made really good timing. You're right at the edge after a full day's travel. And then as you kind of walk out of the woods, you guys will be able to make camp either right at the woods or on the plains, pretty close. And then you see, just briefly, you see Elanil back in the woods. She kind of gives you a wave and a bow that she knows you'll see, and then she heads back.
Before she does that,
Oh, go ahead.
I give her a meaningful look, like to say, just stay for a moment. I have something to tell you. Like,
Yeah,
one of
she
those
kind of
looks?
she gives you the nod to come back into the woods, so like to trail the party as the group continues forward.
Mm-hmm. And I let the party move forward, and I hang him back, and I disappear into the forest, and I go towards where I last saw Elanil.
Yep, she's waiting for you.
And I look around, and do I see anybody else other than Elanil?
Nope. You don't see any of the others. I think you know that they're probably out there, and you've been kind of watching. Your guess at this point is there was probably 10 wood elves in the group, but you don't see any of them currently.
I look at her and I say, very gracious, I say, thank you for helping us through the Moonwood. I am glad we didn't stumble upon your settlements with our odd group. And
she says to you, thank you for allowing us to show you through. We did not want to have conflict with you.
Of course. It's only polite when in another's forest. And I move closer to her, closer than I have ever stood near probably anyone if she's ever watched me. Almost as close as Zilyana was. And I say, what I'm about to say, I need you to tell the leader of your village, of your guard, of whoever is in power here in Moonwood. It is not something that should bear repeating to anyone except them. I'm telling you this because dangerous times are coming, and I'm speaking like as softly as I possibly can.
Okay.
I say, send a message to your leader and tell them that the ordering has broken and to be very wary. We are in very trying times, and no one knows what the result will be. And then I back away and I say, be careful. And thank you, Moonwood Elves. And I look around me. And I say, thank you, Moonwood Elves, for escorting us. And I
Yeah.
give her a meaningful nod.
Yeah, and she would give you a probably sincere Elven goodbye type phrase that I would think all elves would have, although off the top of my head what it would be I don't know, but it's something like let the wind guide you, or flow with the water, not against it, kind of type thing. And then she bows very respectfully, a very deep bow, and then drifts back off into the woods and disappears quickly.
All right, and I catch up with my group.
All right. So you guys, towards the end of camp, you are definitely at the plains. You can decide if you want to make your camp right at the edge of the woods or actually into the plain area. The storm has moved off to the north, and now it's northwest of you. You can see you have plains, and there's a river that it's the Subrain River. Let's open up some stuff for you.
I'm going to try to find some game heading to or from the river, if I can.
Okay. Let's see. There we go. What else would you guys know? You probably would know this stuff. And you probably know that the next set of forest you're going to get to at some point is the Lurkwood. But there's still the mountain range between that area, which you may not be as familiar with.
I make sure to inform the group that there's a bunch of orc tribes around the river, so we need to be very careful as we go around the Subrin when it's near the mountains.
And also, I guess probably most of you could make a history check, and we'll see if any of you know of a close town.
Oh yeah, look at that sweet 5.
So what do I want?
Nod gets a history test.
The Feywells are a crazy place, Greybeard.
Okay, all right, you got me. All right.
It's all Fey sports trivia, though.
No, Nod has never been to this place.
You don't know that.
I do know that.
Well, now we do.
I love Nod's accent.
So, wow, even no, nobody
That's
had
all
a
right.
very high.
Nod's
Coffee
been there
did.
more likely than I have, so all's good.
Coffee, probably to the south of you is the Morvan Hall and Rivermont.
Rivermont.
Yes, the Morvan Hall and Rivermont.
So you would know those are there. Those are things that you know of because they're north of the Evermoors, and it's somewhere you've been before. 19. Yeah, you would know that Mithril Hall also is in those mountains. So Rivermont is a small village that sits on the river. You probably rode past it. You probably did not stay in it. Wood frame dwellings built on stilts because the river swells during the spring and flood the ground around them. Lots of canoes. They're very. It's a very marshy area, and it's all humans. Mostly humans. In that area, and then what would you know about?
I assume Mithril Hall is a dirty dwarven stronghold.
Yep, we'll get to that in just a second. You know also that Morvan Hall is a keep that sits up on a crag that overlooks the Evermoors. It's a place that you probably had not stopped in, but is along the road. and it keeps watch over not only to the north where barbarians and such raid from either the hills, the Frost Hills, or even stuff comes out of the Moonwood, or they keep stuff coming from north out of the Evermoors, keep it contained type thing. Again, more a human settlement. And then what would you know about Mithril Hall? Let's bring that up.
Those damn dirty apes.
They blew it all up.
You probably know that the dwarves have a vault out there, like one of their fortresses, one of their underground dwellings. But it's not a place you would have visited, and it's definitely underground. It's not something that sits above ground.
All right. I will explain to the party the landmarks that I know. My suggestion.
Here's something you do know. You do know that the person who rules Mithril Hall is the Queen, Dagnabbit Waybeard.
Dagnabbit.
It's Queen
I
Dagnabbit.
asked Greybeard if he knows of a Queen Dagnabbit.
Queen Dagnabbit. Why is that significant?
I hear she's fond of swarthy dwarves like yourself.
Nope.
You had to tell her something. What the fuck was she? Hurry up and load Google Doc.
Yeah, it seems like we did know a Queen Dagnabbit. It's not coming to my brain.
Search. Nah. Ha, here we go. Guys, I wrote the best description. I wrote Queen Dagnabbit. This is under allies fighting the giants. And so Queen Dagnabbit is, I don't know where she's from, what she does, or who she is, but it's on the same page as the above, so I'm assuming she's nice. But most importantly, her last name was in all caps because that's just amazing. That's all I have on her. She's an ally. Someone told her about us when they told us about the leader of the Lord's Alliance and the silver dragon who attacked Zephyros' flying tower. It was she's
There
who
you
we
go.
needed
Yeah,
to go
everybody
to
remembers
talk
that now.
about it.
They were the dwarves. They came from Mithril Hall when they attacked Zephyros' tower, and you guys were there when that happened. So they were the dwarves from Mithril Hall.
So they've got that cool gaseous form stuff, Greybeard.
Yeah.
I don't love my note-taking skills sometimes.
All right, give me a drawing of the group's route here, because you've got mountain range in front of you. You got to make a decision here.
Well, we should. I would.
For your next day. Right now, you're setting up camp right at the edge, and I would assume the group is discussing their route of travel for the next couple days.
Are we good at going down a river? Would that speed up our travel?
No, I would suggest going along the edge of the forest because I was told that around the Subrin River, it's very, very dangerous. A lot of orcs.
Perfect.
So how about we go down the edge, go to Morvan Hall, or get onto that road, go to Rivermont, and if we so desire, we could head to Mithril Hall, I guess.
That takes us out of our way, though.
To Mithril Hall, I agree.
We're going due west, so why would we go south?
Because there's a lot of bad things coming from the Frost Hills right now.
We are the heroes of Nightstone, the defenders of Tribor.
And we're also only 7.
The destroyers of Crying Hill Giant Towers.
And Tigray, but also Coffee, you hear in an exact replica of Ian's voice in your head, "We have no fear."
Exactly, Ian. We have no fear.
No, we are only. What do you mean we have no fear? There are 7 of us. A
You just
6
said
of-
we had no fear.
I didn't say we had no fear. Is anybody around us? Is it just a conversation between me and Coffee? Again?
Yeah, who knows what everybody else is doing? They'll tell you.
Arguing about direction.
God, every time.
You two are just arguing.
I just
yeah.
ignore the two of them and assume they're just arguing again as usual.
I didn't say we had no fear. I just
I
said.
have no fear.
But did you say it? Because I didn't say we have no fear.
I've got lots of fears.
See? Listen to Nod. Smart Feywild. Much wiser than us all.
You hear Smiles ask Finn, why do they argue so much?
Literally the first time we've ever argued in front of in public. We're elves. We have a better decorum than that. What was I saying? No, but
Yeah, he
There-
feels
we are
embarrassed
only
that you've
7.
heard him. You see embarrassment on his cheeks that you heard him.
he better. There's only 7 of us. I say fear is not an unhealthy thing to have. It keeps you alive.
Time is precious. We waste time going south. We have a frost giant. We have a crazed dwarf. We have a knight on a lion. You are death with a bow. I am death with a sword. We fear
And-
for nothing.
And there was death almost unto us when we fought 2 fire giants. When we fought 20 Uthkart barbarian. What makes you think we will survive a tribe of
Because
orcs?
we did.
It is not a sure thing. I'd say we go. I was warned by the elves of the Moonwood to be wary of the Subrin River. I'm
You guys-
inclined to agree with them.
Are you guys arguing in Elvish or Common?
We're probably going in and out.
In and out.
All right.
Using slang.
And while that's going on, you feel a slight vibration on your hip. Coffee.
I put my hand on my sword, clasping it, as I continue to argue with Ian.
I'm like, my hand goes towards my dagger, and I'm like, why?
And you get a feeling from the sword of just agreement with you, Coffee. Like you're right, just that, and it's just emotion. It's not words of you're in the right. You're correct. You speak true.
And I say, Coffee, let go of your sword.
I'm just holding it.
And why would you just be holding it? My hand
Are
is
you
now
not
on my
holding
dagger.
your sword? Are you not holding your dagger?
Well, when someone reaches for their armament, I tend to be wary of them.
I reach for my veil.
Is it down?
I pull it down. I go, woman, why do you vex me so?
I don't know why you are pretending to have no fear. Why would you be in
Pretending?
danger?
Have you ever seen fear for me?
I've seen you on the ground broken, yes.
And I've arisen every time.
One does not always arise. We've lost members before. Smiles was dead.
By whose hand?
Well, by mine. And the rest of us, I just finished them off. But the point is that people die. I thought that said Kate, and I was like, we don't have a Kate. Go ahead.
We need a Kate.
You need a Kate. Go ahead. Sorry, Coffee.
I am sure we can handle orcs down the river. Orcs! We bested 2 fire giants.
And why should we have to battle more of them when we can just avoid the problem and go around and possibly be faster? Because if one of us goes down, that slows down our progress. We move slower rather than faster.
We went west through the Moonwood. We continue west. Going south takes us out of our path.
Do you not wish to visit more locations in which I thought wizards were always in search for knowledge?
I believe Xantharal's Keep is where we should be going.
Xantharal's Keep. It is on the way. It is still several weeks' travel.
Correct, which you wish to elongate by going south.
I'm waiting for people to do their insight checks. I'll
Yeah,
keep
me
on
too.
doing this all day, but I'm waiting.
That's going on.
I
So-
just pretty much blocked him out a while ago.
So Graybeard, on your insight check, all you get is that the two elves are arguing, and you just kind of tune them out, like it's not anything unusual for them to be discussing something.
Yeah, it sounds like boy band music to me.
Yeah. Yeah, Ardrith, you're getting the impression, actually Graybeard, because you have 4 insight, you think that maybe they're flirting with each other.
Then it definitely sounds like boy band music.
Ardrith, you realize that it's kind of an argument. Like it's not like you think they're coming to blows, but it's clearly they both have a different opinion of where to go, and each of them are probably not going to be able to talk the other one out of, their side of it. So you definitely can tell it's an argument, and it's something you haven't seen from the group before. What about Finn and Edrim's out hunting still?
And Nod, especially Nod,
Not at disadvantage.
my buddy old pal.
Insight checks.
We're just going in and
Yeah,
out.
Finn, you recognize, that it's an argument that, Coffee is. You can tell Coffee has, doesn't understand why Ian's bringing you guys one way, and Ian can't possibly understand why Coffee is not listening to her, not heeding her words. It's definitely a disagreement.
Nod can't roll insight.
Well, it would just be an intelligence, I think, at disadvantage. I think insight's intelligence. Might be wisdom. Oh, yeah, perfect. 8. Yeah, Nod believes this is something he doesn't understand, and he might want to ask you a question about it later, but he's confused by what they're doing.
It's clearly a bizarre courtship ritual.
Clearly.
Clearly.
Like cowl down and everything.
Yeah, how often does that ever happen?
How long have you heard me speak this long? That's another thing that should be worrying
and
people.
Ardrith and Finn would quickly realize that somebody else needs to speak up, and because neither one of them are going to budge on their points of view.
We're just arguing about where to go, right?
Right, and nobody else seems to be inputting anything.
Yeah, you're just letting us argue on. Still going at it.
Yeah, and it's just going on and going on.
We're riding down the river at this point, though, right?
So I realize what they're
No, you're
doing.
making camp.
They're actually having kind of fun with it. So when they're a little bit away from each other, I'm going to make comments estolling about how the other one really can't wait to go in the direction they want to. So I'm going to feed the flames while we're
Well,
walking
your
around.
insight's good enough that if you think you do that might cause a problem. Like you could instigate something you don't want to instigate. You feel like this is not a time to kind of joke with him. I mean,
Oh,
Coffee
gotcha.
has his hand on his sword, and they've talked about weapons for a second, and it you can tell it was serious.
All right. I didn't know they were going to go to blows over it. So
Well, who knows?
Well, I don't think they are. You don't get like they're about to, but obviously somebody egging them on could definitely send this somewhere you don't intend. Is what I mean. Either calming them down or just letting them go. You don't feel like anything's going to happen, but if you egg them on, you're not sure what'll happen.
so tempting. I'll use.
Yeah. Do what you wish with that knowledge.
I say we go to Rivermont. We need food. We gave half our supplies to the giant.
Exactly, Finn.
but the
My
Subrin
point
River,
exactly.
the Subrin River is full of orcs and giants. and we were warned by the elves not to bother with them and rather
We were
go
warned
around.
by wood elves not to bother them. Greybeard, are you afraid of orcs?
No, not at all. But I can only understand about every third or fourth word you guys are talking about. So you just kiss her and get on with it.
I give a very disgusted look at that remark. Like, oh, they didn't even make a noise.
Copy Black throws up a little.
Just both gagging. Oh.
It's a weird way to start a
Yeah, Graveyard, you're kind of stunned because you're like, now you're wondering, are they not flirting with each other?
Yeah, I mean, that's how elves start to make out. They throw up a little bit.
But you also think, well, maybe I was wrong. You kind of get that.
Yeah.
Maybe I was wrong.
Okay.
Maybe I don't know. I
Like-
don't know.
Under normal circumstances, Ian, I would agree completely, but we're traveling with a giant.
Hey, I'm just saying. I go where the wind blows. Make up our minds. Flip a coin.
Shit, the wind is blowing east.
Well, then, guess we're going east.
Ah, that damn sailor.
That's an amazing remark.
All right, let us continue on. Camp begins to get made. Everybody kind of maybe thinks, well, let's finish building camp and then we can resume our talk. But we will call our session here for tonight, and then we shall meet up again next Monday to see which direction our group decides to take and where we go from here. So hopefully everybody enjoyed the episode. If you missed anything, you can always catch it on YouTube or the VODs. Definitely check out Sir Lucian's YouTube channel or Twitch channel. You can also, I don't know if anybody else is streaming, sometimes PB streams, that's PB Plays Inside, and sometimes Greybeard streams. Check out Greybeard on Twitch. Are you going to Twitch also, PB, or are you doing the
I
other
do
one?
YouTube.
Oh,
I do
YouTube.
the
So you can check
videos.
out the YouTube streaming also for them. Check us out on Thursday nights for a homebrew campaign with some of the same people, but also some others in that game. And that one starts at 8:30 on Thursday, and that should be about all for tonight. So thanks for joining. Hope everybody enjoyed it. I will leave up the character sheets, and I will leave the stream running for a few minutes for those that are in chat. And then we will hopefully see you in the next episode. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Nod.